If you have a child that clings at drop-off or comes home from school in a rotten mood or needs 17 glasses of water before they will finally stay in bed, it's easy to read all of that as misbehavior or to quietly wonder what you're doing wrong. But here's something I found surprises a lot of the parents I've worked with. Kids experience much more of life as separation than we even realize. School can feel like separation, even with a teacher and friends that they really like. Being with one parent can feel like separation from the one who isn't there. And bedtime, that's separation too. You're just down the hall, but to your child, the night is the longest time apart in their whole day. That's not bad behavior. It's separation anxiety. And separation anxiety is the quiet force behind most human problems, including behavior problems. So in this video, I want to make sense of it with you, why it shows up as behavior, what's actually going on for your children in those moments, and what you can do before, during, and after you're apart to help. And I made you a free guide for this. It's called the Bridging Blueprint. It's the whole method, 2 pages, it's a free PDF, it's linked right below, and there's no opt-in required. By the end of this, the clinging and the bedtime battles are gonna make a whole lot more sense, and you'll leave with something you can use right away. And what we're doing today is one piece of a bigger map I'll show you along the way. The full map is in another video on this channel, and I'll point you to it. Let's make sense of this together. Let me tell you about a family I worked with. Mornings in their house were mostly fine. The hard part was the hour after school. Their son held it together all day, but the moment he got in the car, his mood came apart over the smallest things. The wrong snack, the wrong question, some days just how was school was enough to set it off. And these were good, thoughtful parents. But like almost every parent I meet, they were misreading the behavior. Some parents read it as the kid being difficult. Some start worrying that something's wrong with their child. And a lot of parents quietly turn it on themselves. What am I doing wrong? 3 different stories, and every one of them misses what's actually going on. And I want to say something about that because it's not your fault. Almost everything the parenting industry hands you is behavior management. How to handle the clinging, how to stop the stalling, how to get them back in bed. All of it aimed at the behavior and none of it at what's driving the behavior. And that's why it keeps not working and why you need a new trick every month. What we do here is the opposite. We deal with the underlying problems, the things actually causing the behavior. That's where real change comes from. And it happens in a way that brings you and your child closer, not further apart. Here's what's actually going on underneath it all. Attachment is the deepest need a child has. It's the deepest need we all have. Knowing that the people we love are there and can be counted on. And this is deeper than a feeling. It's a survival instinct that we're all born with. The fear that comes along with it is separation, which is why all the sensible things we say to a worried kid, you'll be fine, don't worry, you love school, tend to bounce right off of them. The anxiety isn't listening to logic. It's watching for you. You can't talk a child out of separation anxiety. You can only help them through it. So a kid can be sitting there in a classroom he likes with a teacher he likes, and some part of him is still holding on to the question of when he's going to get you back. That's not something wrong with your child. It's just how children are built. And here's the hopeful part. The security they need on the inside can be built. Kids don't come with it. We help them build it. And that's what the rest of this video is for. So there's a specific practice that I teach my clients about how to help children deal with this separation anxiety. And it's just part of the culture of connection in our home, and we call it bridging. So here's a picture that I draw for my clients, and I want to warn you right now, my raw artistic abilities are a little intimidating, so please don't feel bad about yourself. You'll see that I'm joking. So here's one side of the bridge, okay? So this is meant to represent one side of the bridge, and this is before we are apart from each other, and this is one part of the bridge where we are back together. So here's together, and here's what I mean by my intimidating artistic ability. So here, before the bridge, we're together. And here, after, we're together again. And so both of these are what a child wants, and it's their greatest need, to know that you're there and to be with you and to feel that sense of attachment. But the middle part is the problem, and that's what we'll label as separation, okay? And separation can be real separation, like Daddy's away at work, I'm at school, and it can be perceived separation. Maybe we'll do another video on that, but that can be when things are hard, we're having troubles, and it can feel like we're apart even when we're together. But let's just talk about this, because this is the main separation anxiety that children are experiencing. When we're together, great. When we're back together, great. But most children focus on the separation aspects of things. And so this is water, I assure you. This is meant to represent the time apart. And like I said before, children don't naturally look forward to reunion. They focus on separation. And so they can be with one parent that they really love, and they'll be thinking about how they miss the one that's not there and where are they. They can be at school with a teacher and friends that they really like, but they're feeling separation from us as their parents. And this is just human nature. We can't rationalize with it. And so bridging is how we understand that children are born this way. Human beings are born completely insecure about separations and comings and goings. And part of our job as a parent is to build a bridge across the separation so that instead of the child focusing on here, on this time of apart, the children learn to start, focusing on the reunion. And when we're together again, I know, stunning illustration, but sometimes just visuals help me understand something. So this is what we're going to talk about for the rest of the video, is how do we help our children bridge inside of themselves from not being together to being together, so they get that sense inside that relationship persists even when we're apart. I think if you look at it, you'll find that quite a few of the problems that you're having in your home are happening right before or right after separation, because right before, a child won't put on their jacket or get in the car or whatever, or acts up because they're trying to stave off the separation. And right after, they've been having a hard time holding on and their cup is kind of empty, and so you're having problems right after the separation. Now, one quick thing before we move on. Every week I put out a video like this one piece of the map representing one parenting challenge at a time. If this is helping, please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next piece or the next brilliant illustration. Now, here's the problem. The most common advice you'll hear about clingy kids doesn't just miss this, it makes it worse. And I want to show you exactly why. You'll hear it from the parenting books, from the preschool pickup line, probably even from your own parents. Kids need to learn independence. Don't linger, rip off the Band-Aid. They cry for 2 minutes and they're fine. I'm gonna be honest with you. This one frustrates me more than most things I hear because it gets the whole thing exactly backwards. Because in over 23 years of working with families, here's what I've seen. You don't get independence by pushing a child into separation. Kids don't become independent because we tell them to, and they don't get comfortable being apart by being made to be apart. That's not how it works on the inside. It works the other way around. Independence forms out of secure dependence. A child gets to be brave about time apart because they've learned through hundreds of small reps that you come back. Every time they reach out and find you there, they learn one more time. The bridge holds. Rush that, push it through, punish it, and the anxiety doesn't leave. It digs in. The clinging gets clingier, or worse, the child stops reaching. And I want to be clear, that's not independence. That's a kid who gave up on the bridge. And I know the worry underneath this because parents say it to me all the time. If I give him all this closeness, won't he get clingier? Won't I spoil him? No, you cannot spoil a child by meeting a real need. Spoiling happens when we skip the real need and try to make up for it with other things. The toy, the treat, the giving in. Meeting the need is what makes the need smaller. Peggy O'Mara from Mothering Magazine once said it perfectly. She said, "A need once met is released." And that's exactly how it works. And one more piece of this because it matters more than parents realize. Never sneak out. Slipping away while they're distracted feels practical sometimes, but think about what it teaches. It teaches your child that they can't trust their own eyes about whether they're safe. Trust is the bridge underneath all other bridges. Here's a question to sit with, and it's exactly what your bridging blueprint helps you map. Think about your child's hardest moment of the day. Now ask, Is that wrapped around a separation? Bedtime is a separation. Drop off is a separation. That rough hour after school is the tail end of a long one. The Sunday night meltdown before the school week starts is also one. When you run your week through that lens, behavior that felt random usually stops looking random. And let me take some pressure off. Bridging is not something you do all day, every day about everything. You're looking for the spots where your child struggles right before or right after a separation, and you concentrate there. For most families, that's 1 or 2 spots in the day. That's it. Now, let me zoom out for a second. Everything I teach sits on one map, and bridging is one piece of it right down at the base in the part I call connect. I'm not going to walk you through the whole map today. The full picture and how all the pieces fit together is in another video on this channel called The Parenting Roadmap Most Families Are Missing, and it's linked below. For now, the thing to know is this isn't a standalone trick. It's a piece of something bigger, and it's part of the realm that most families need first. And understand this about bridging before we get even more practical about it. It's proactive. You're out ahead of the anxiety, before the door, before the tears, instead of cleaning up after them. That's what it means to be in the lead with your child, not louder, earlier. So if forcing distance backfires, what do you do instead? Especially on that morning when you genuinely have to get out the door. You build the bridge. It has 3 planks and you can lay the first one tonight. All right, so plank 1 is bridging forward, and that's before you part. All right, so we're bridging forward from the time where we were together to the time after we're together. And the timing on this matters. You do it before the anxiety builds, not at the door. The night before or at breakfast, you paint a picture of the reunion and you make it something they can see. Tomorrow, when I pick you up, we're going to go to the creek to throw rocks. We're going to go to the park and play. I'm going to give you 15 hugs. Or in the morning, we're going to make waffles together. And I'll have a whole bunch of hugs and kisses all saved up for you, all with your name on them. The picture is the point. That's what they hold on to. It's the picture of what it's going to be like over here when we're together again. And notice what this does to the word goodbye. I teach parents to mostly retire it. Goodbye feels final, and a child's attachment brain hears the finality. Most cultures figured this out a long time ago. They say au revoir until we see each other again, until my return. Hasta mañana, see you tomorrow. So we don't part on goodbye, we part on the reunion. I'll see you at pickup right by the turtle statue. Say the return, give them a picture, and the return is what they'll hold in their brain and in their heart. And plank 2 is bridging in the middle. And what that means is, of course, we're going to be apart sometimes, but let's remind our children while they're working on building their internal bridges that our relationship persists even when we're apart. That could be a note tucked into their lunchbox. It could be telling them at pickup, hey, today when you were having lunch, I was having my lunch at work, and to me it felt like we were having lunch together. Or, hey, last night while you were sleeping, I had a dream about you and us being together and doing something. And for younger kids especially, we might even give them something physical that represents us. Not any old toy, a shirt that they take to bed, a shirt of ours, a bracelet that you gave them, a stuffed animal that you filled up with 100 mommy or daddy kisses and hugs before school. When they see it, they feel you and find you in it. Plank 3 is bridging backwards, and that means at reunion, we might remind them of the loop that we opened in the morning. Hey, you remember what I said we'd do after school? Let's go do it. It's helping them find the picture that we painted and completing the circuit. That completed circuit, repeated over and over, is what builds the pathway in the brain that says our relationship holds even when we're apart. Now, it's important for me to say that this internalized security that we're talking about is not some kind of light switch that just happens. Children are born with zero built-in certainty that the people they love come back. That certainty only gets built through thousands of small reps, and you can't rush it. You just have to have faith that at some point, it takes hold. Most of the parents I've taught this to over the last 22, 23 years see little and even big wins within the first few days of becoming more mindful and intentional and consistent about bridging the way I'm teaching you here. Sometimes though, there's a period after that of 2 steps forward and 1 step back kind of progress, while the child learns to trust and integrate this new bridging culture that we're building. But almost always within a few weeks, the hard part of the day is genuinely different. I gotta say, the more sensitive a child, the more reps it takes. That's not you failing. That's a bridge that's just still under construction. So let's go back to that family we talked about with the brutal after school hour. We built their bridges on purpose. A picture painted at breakfast about the park at pickup, a note in the lunchbox, the reunion questions in the car. The first week wasn't a straight line. Some days the old pattern came roaring back and the notes went stale, or the new things they were trying weren't working and they had to change a little bit. But within a couple of weeks, that hour was a different hour. And here's one of the ways these parents knew that all their efforts around bridging were starting to take hold. And I see this all the time in my coaching practice. It started coming back the other way, meaning their son started bridging back to them more often. This looked different ways. One of the ways it happened was he would make bracelets at school and make sure that each of his parents would get one so they would think of him while they were at work. Or one afternoon, he just said to his mom out of the blue, "Mama, were you thinking about me today while you were at work?" That's a child building the bridge back to you. When that starts, it's wonderful, but stay in the lead with it. And what I mean by that is, take your child's cues as real information about what works for them, but keep being the one out in front, because it lands deepest when it comes from you. This is exactly the kind of work I map out with families on that full roadmap, because once bridging takes hold, it's usually one of the keys to everything else. You don't build independence by pulling away. You build it by proving you'll be there when they come back. So a quick recap: the clinging, the rotten after school mood, the bedtime stalling. Usually separation anxiety, not misbehavior. You don't fix it with distance, you fix it with the bridge. Paint the picture before, hold the thread during, close the loop after. What we did today is just one aspect of the connect realm, and the connect realm is the base of the whole family roadmap that I teach my clients. Connect, regulate, and guide, and the 3 conditions around them that are necessary for successful parenting. To see how the whole thing fits together, watch the parenting roadmap most families are missing next. It's linked below. And don't forget to print out your free Bridging Blueprint handout. It walks you through all 3 planks that we discussed today. It's linked below and there's no email required. And lastly, don't leave this video thinking that you have to bridge every possible separation experience that your child is having in their life. Pick 1 or 2 of the times in your day where you're consistently having problems and apply the principles of this video. Please comment below with your challenges and your success stories. I read every single one, and I'll see you in the next video.